We've got 15 watches on the table. The tables have turned, and I want you to rate our collection. Hello and welcome to About Effing Time. I am so happy that you are here. And I have got Adrian and Andrew to my right and left. Guys, honestly, I want to just jump in.
Was that the Christmas address from Buckingham Palace?
I was trying to do this kind of wonderful news reporter.
That's what it felt like.
Anyway, I have got a message from Watch de l'Homme.
Watch de l'Homme.
You rock already. We know you rock. Just an idea, but not sure if this is viable. As you three represent the watch world in different ways. George makes watches, Adrian, I don't know, you two, and of course Andrew is a journalist. It would be great to look into each of your personal watch collection and present your state of your collection with the reasons of having each watch in there. This could be a one episode for each of you. No, it can't, sorry. We, as viewers, also want to see your dimensions of your collection and to see how different a journo, a watchmaker, and a YouTuber does it. So you're rating our collection. This is
the tables have turned.
This is going to be funny.
How
this
the
is going to be
tables
amazing.
have turned, Mr. Bond. Now, who was the harshest on people on our viewers' collections?
Very nice. That was so friendly. I loved everyone.
Well, I think we all threw out some sixes.
Okay, so do you know what I'm wanting to do first? Because we've got some kind of cool watches on our wrists, and I want to kind of jump in there. Adrian, what's on your wrist?
I have got the new... Oh, Marcus, can we have the top-down camera, please? Yes. Thank you, Marcus.
Oh, yes.
I have the new Oris Altimeter. This isn't mine. It's not borrowed. I found it in George's marvellous box of toys. But pretty cool.
We did borrow, so it's
so
not...
this is a watch that I really like. It's a chunky beast, far too big for me. But if I had more money,
Isn't that cool?
It is absolutely killer.
Yep, I am wearing the Baltic Aquascaf with a ceramic.
And you're putting it on the wrong wrist. This is amazing.
know.
So you
It
are
looks-
a wrong wrister.
Look how bulbous that
now.
crystal is.
I like
And
this.
also the super glossy dial. Like you can look at the way that dial just goes boom. So yeah, this is again just such a value proposition from Baltic for what it is. And I have been wearing the hell out of it, and you can just see nothing on it. There's just, it's a really robust piece.
They're focused on it, haven't they?
That's nice. Yeah. Anyway, George.
I have got
Oh boy.
Batshit crazy.
batshit crazy. Bell & Ross. Honestly, I love Bell & Ross. When this watch first came out, I fell in love with this actual watch. Not this watch, but this shape of a watch. It reminds me of a Land Rover headlight, and you can see it probably, you know, they talk about instruments. This is one of those things that, and I just love...
Oh, that looks like a PlayStation controller.
Yeah.
And this is a Grail watch. This is, and here we go, Albert Saberstein.
Alan Silberstein.
There we
Alan
go.
Silberstein.
You can see my dyslexia hits in on that. This is a Grail watch with Bell & Ross. I think, no, actually it's a Revolution watch with Bell & Ross. Whichever way it is a limited edition. And when I say to people buy the modern limited editions, this is one of those. It strangely has been one of those watches on my wrist for a lot, even down to the point.
How does it wear, George? Because it's so
fabulous. And even down to the point I dropped it and took it back to Bell & Ross, and the person at Bell & Ross went to me and said, "Oh my God, you've got one of those! So happy!" Boom, 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 and really, and then they just went and sorted it out for me. Don't worry, it's sorted. And within about I don't know, a day and a half, 2 days. All sorted back on my wrist.
That's cool.
And I just kind of
What
love...
I've never seen is this, Adrian. That's that angle is you see
cool.
that a lot as a viewer, but not as a wearer.
Yeah.
Can you show that? That ain't. Oh yes.
That's rad.
That is cool.
Isn't it cool?
I didn't even know
just
they were coloured.
The combination, and I love the chrono hand. It's just
So fat.
It's just, but it's nuts, and it's so him and.
So you own the Silberstein Louis Erards, the Silberstein Louis Erard triple collection, and this.
Yeah, maybe.
I think we know that's a yes. Take that as a yes.
Okay, so on that note...
No, I think he genuinely doesn't know. He's so many watches.
No.
Maybe.
I do know what, and I do know where they are. Okay, on that
Cut to the
note-
CCTV of my safe.
No, definitely not. So on that note, it's about effing time that you rate our collection.
Oh, be nice.
And just so you know, I'm going to win. Okay,
How are we going to do this, George?
Adrian-
You're making the rules.
why don't we put one out at a time?
Yeah, I think.
Oh, that's like a
Boom.
card game.
Yeah,
Boom.
but then we put them in a line so they
Yes,
create
yes,
like
yes,
a-
yes.
We could go
let's
1, 2,
do
3,
it like
4,
a card. This is how it's going to go. It is like a card game. We're going to be pulling out one watch, and it is going to be that we're going to compete 5 watches. Okay, shall I go first?
Sure thing.
I think so.
Okay, so we're
Dealer's luck.
dealer's choice. I am going to go for...
Are you putting them out in any order?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go in chronological order.
No, I'm not. I'm doing a Tag Heuer,
My watch is going to beat yours anyway. So.
customised, personalised by Bamford Watch Department, Monaco. Now, I could have gone for the carbon Monaco, but for me, this is one of those watches. I wanted to bring something that is
What the
personalised.
heck,
This
George?
is my personalised piece, and I've been wearing it this summer, and I've enjoyed it so much. But it's fully personalised by me, and it really is my designs.
So talk me through it, because this is like a blueprint of a dial.
Yeah. So I have got a personalised Bamford Monaco. I love the Monaco, and I know that I should bring a forged carbon, but I just thought this is the other thing that most people haven't seen. And so I wanted to do this with this leather strap that is a painted leather strap, and I just love the combination when you look at it together. And also we did a personalised dial.
Boy, oh boy, George. So that is a full caliber 11 vibe. And what I love about this is that it's a little bit like Fabrizio's sketch dial
yeah.
Finissimo, where you could see the workings of the artist, because what you have here, it appears to me that these are like, not CAD drawings, but almost like a blueprint sort of
Yeah, kind of.
dial.
I do you know, for me, what I wanted to do is I loved, there was a prototype Monaco that had these spider edges, and
Yeah.
it went out to the edges, and someone's going to correct me on what it is. And I kind of wanted to have these rings, so it's a square watch, but really accentuate that circle. And the navy blue, I like blue dials. I like when it's that wonderful dark blue dial with our Bamford Aqua Blue as the accent. And what's strange is it's made the Bamford Aqua Blue white.
It almost looks like lime green. It's strange, the contrast on the blue. So how does that reflect your collecting strategy?
So, for me, that is totally a watch for me. I've designed every single bit of it. That is my watch. And so it is my collecting strategy. I put something on my wrist for me. And so I'm going for a Monaco, and I should have done the carbon Monaco, and I keep on thinking I should be doing the carbon.
I'm glad you didn't, because this is stunning.
That's something different, and I thought it's me.
I almost hate to say it, but that's just pornographically gorgeous, because I love the caliber 11, which is the same, exact same tone of dial, but then there's just so much more to talk about with this one, because it's
different and unique, and even like you see what I've done with the sub hands. There's a black and a white sub hand. It's a bit crazy.
Adrian is just left so
gone to
clammy by a Monaco. He's
stand
just
the Monaco.
so cold. He's just sitting there waiting for it to end. You're thinking of England. You're just lying there.
Okay, Mr. Big Nuts, come on. Come on, you'll go now.
Mr. Big Nuts.
So when I bought this watch, this was supposed to
Explorer
be.
one.
This was supposed to be my one watch, and that was it.
Explorer one.
We know it.
I was only going to have one watch. This is going to be my daily. This is going to be my one favourite. and when
If
when I
you're
was
preparing
buying
yourself
this,
to be shocked, then unprepare yourself.
Please say it's an Explorer one. Oh my God, it's not!
Oh, wow.
So I've always loved the Submariner, but I always like things that are slightly different. And although I'm not a massive fan of green, I loved the fact that this was.
I like the
This
dial.
was the first for so many things within the Submariner range. So it was the first Submariner with the maxi case, first Submariner with the maxi hands, which were then rolled out on all the ceramic Submariners. All the ceramic watches now have maxi hands and maxi dial. And the green is God, it's a celebration of the 50th anniversary. So this was supposed to be my daily. It was my daily for a very long time, for about a year, 18 months. And then it suddenly, I've paid about $5,000 for this, and it suddenly jumped up to 10 grand. And I didn't want to wear a 10 grand watch. And so I thought I should buy
George, let me ask
more.
you a question about Adrian's watch. What do you think is better suited to Adrian, the Explorer or this?
I want to say that. I like that more for you than the
I
Explorer.
wish you wore it more.
Oh,
I
really?
do.
Yeah, I just want a bit of something from you.
Good question. I agree. When you bring it out, I'm like,
Why
hello.
don't you wear it? Yeah.
It just doesn't excite me. Yeah.
And the comfort's not there compared to the Explorer 1. Explorer
No,
1.
that's actually more comfortable because there's weight to
Really?
it. Yeah, the bracelet on it's
More
much
balanced.
more substantial. Yeah, the balance is better.
Can I ask you another question? Why did you bring that one out as first?
That's my oldest watch. That's
You're doing it linear.
I'm doing it in chronological order.
I'm doing this, and how can I just show you?
So that was my second.
Okay.
That was my second big watch that I bought, and I don't have the first anymore. So.
Andrew,
I am bringing the.
he's actually taking it off his wrist.
I had it hidden under my. I'm bringing the Studio Underdog Desert Sky.
Do you get commission every time? You make
Arabic edition. I do not.
Ching!
I wish I did.
Ching!
Actually, this guy doesn't need my help. But
He doesn't need your help, no.
we can all laugh, but no, that's the truth.
No, he's on fire.
That's is that
back
in
a bit.
focus? There we go. What is unique about this edition is that it is the Arabic special
they are.
edition.
Right.
Yeah, but you also see them on the chronograph counters as well, I believe.
That is cool.
So yeah, this is number. I think it's somewhere written on this watch. I
Number
think
Andrew.
50 of 50. So I got the last one of the Desert Sky from this edition. But look, Watch Dilemma asked a very specific question, which is how does your collecting strategy change as a journalist? And I think invariably, I am a people-driven person, and I'm here because I met you as a journalist.
Yeah. Okay.
And we knew each other before this and had something of a connection because I'm a journalist. So I end up with these people in my life that become my friends and become a part of my story. And then when I wear a watch that reminds me of that person, it becomes more than a watch. So this is not about the fact that it's a Studio Underdog. It's about the fact that Richard was one of the first Micro Mondays people, and we did the prank last year, or it feels like last year, this year. So my strategy with collecting is sentimental. It's partly sentimental, and this shows my sentimentality.
Cool. I'd like to just add that this is pre-YouTube. This is pre-everything. This is old.
You were just a dude at Apple.
Yeah.
Next watch.
Simon, you tell me that I don't need a winder, I need a wolf. It's written everywhere. It's a very catchy campaign.
Yes.
That's a big call. What do you mean by that?
Well, we are the best. You have to think you're the best, don't you?
Yeah. No, we
So
are
we
the
start
best.
with that. We feel
We're
that.
the best watch. We're the biggest watch podcast
Are you?
in the Mariana Trench.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I'll swim alongside you down there then, sir. Anyway, the idea of building a watchwinder that does what it should do was what I started with 25 years ago. So there were watchwinders out there, but they weren't intelligent. That meant having a computer chip inside, tick that box. It counts turns per day, tick that box. Can start and stop where you want it to. Has a dynamic cuff, which we haven't looked at yet, which means any size band, metal, strap, whatever, will go on the dynamic cuff.
That's more
You
than
don't need a
winder.
watchwinder.
Yeah.
You need a wolf.
We need a wolf in our lives. You need this winder. We have this winder available.
Or you?
No, Adrian, because I'm not going to go first. I'm
Okay.
Each time I'm going to choose who goes
You're the
first.
boss.
So as we're talking about us collecting strategy, so when I bought this and suddenly the price increased, I didn't want to walk around with a £10,000 watch. It was a significant percentage of my salary at the time. And I just didn't need a watch of that caliber. I went through a couple of watches between that one and this one with the dream of trying to find something that was a good everyday watch. I then started YouTube, and I thought the best thing to do on YouTube is to upset the community, because that's when people start talking. So let's buy a watch that everyone loves on the community and shit on it and rip it apart and then flog it. And 7 years later, 6 years later, I still have my absolute. So I bought this watch to rip it apart and to make negative comments about it because it's so epically boring. And then literally the moment I put it on my wrist, it was like love at first sight. And since that day, this has been
one boring thing met another.
No, honestly, all the jokes
Happily ever
work.
after.
But this is my marriage watch because I feel like this is my wife watch.
Can we
I don't
talk
need a new
about
one.
what I just said to you, which is, but I wish you wore this more because, but then I said, but I'm sure this is more comfortable. But it's not.
No,
And you had to put a special little link in.
Yes.
We always talk about watches that make you smile. This doesn't make me smile. When I wore this, honestly, this was significant. When I bought this was £5,000. That was a significant part of my salary.
Yeah.
When it got to £10,000, that was a huge part of my salary. And so I didn't like the fact that I had a Rolex Submariner that was worth £10,000. Because
Is this the one you took
am
off
I?
in your performance reviews of other people?
Yeah, but for me, I didn't. I've not come from money. I've not had money in the family, and so for me to have something worth this much was absolutely ridiculous. And do I like it because it's a watch, or do I like it because it says something about me? When I put this on, it's just me and my watch.
It feels like it's like, that saying, act your wage? This is you acting your wage.
This is me disappearing. I'm invisible with this. With this, I'm Agent Barker, and I've got a Submariner on my wrist. Look at me. I've got a 15 grand watch.
Choose to disappear.
But this
And
is.
you're the opposite.
I'm
crazy.
I'm no one. I don't need anyone to look at my watch, and I fucking love that.
So interesting. Can we psychoanalyze what Adrian just said? Because there's so many reasons we put on watches. Most people put watches on. Maybe I'm wrong. Do you put a watch on to appear or to disappear? Because I found the way you phrase that so interesting. Because I think I'm somewhere between the two. I certainly not now that we're recognisable figures and we walk around and it happens. I think probably I feel an obligation to have something to give something to surprise and delight someone. But I definitely.
This feels like I'm trying to prove something. This says I had nothing. I don't need to prove anything to you.
Well said.
And that's what I love about it. That's why it makes me smile because like, I'm in control. Like, I don't give a shit.
Deep stuff.
Andrew.
Okay, so my second watch is the watch I've talked about a lot, the Avigation Big Eye.
Absolutely love this watch.
Now,
I also like the strap on this as well.
yeah. So this is my collecting strategy here. Is I don't like to buy watches that are just niche one thing. I don't buy dress watches and pilot watches and dive watches. I buy strap monsters. And this watch is the biggest strap monster. You've seen me wear it on a Bond before. It was the one watch I wouldn't sell that I talked about in another episode. But this is on a Bark & Jack NATO, which is superb quality.
Maybe ribbed.
And oh my goodness, the difference in this and cheapest NATO straps, which is what I usually buy, is somewhat noticeable.
That is gorgeous, man.
It's just, so buy strap monsters. Look for watches that can work on leather, that can work, at the very least, a watch has to work on leather and NATO. And then the real bonus round is if you can get one that also looks good on bracelet. I've got no interest in having this watch on a bracelet. But so number two, what informs my collecting strategy is versatility. Strap monsters, that's what I'm looking for.
Oh, that's stunning.
Thanks, guys. Unusually kind.
Oh yeah, we're not supposed to be positive about each other's watches, are we? That's horrible.
I mean, that strap is dreadful.
Yeah.
What the hell is you doing with that strap? I'm like,
You make a nice little thing there. But yeah, that's number two.
wow.
Strap monsters. Got to be a strap monster.
So next, I have got the Bremont S500 Bamford edition. California dial, I know that you've seen it. I've talked about this multiple times. The reason why I brought it here is because this was, when you talk about watches hitting certain points in your kind of collection, I've got to design certain watches I wanted to have in my collection. And this is the Bamford, this is a California dial, Cali Blue, black ceramic S500. And it is such a happy watch. I love working with dials.
Such a liquid black beast, isn't it, Adrian? Are you thinking the same thing?
That bezel is, I'm a sucker for monotone or
Yeah,
watches with
it's like a
very
yacht, it's a
simple-
Yachtmaster bezel.
It's sexy. That
also
satin
love-
black with the high polished black is.
I love how we both put
I'm a sucker
Bremont
for
and
that.
Bamford's. We subtly put it on grey on the dial. Every time I look down at it, and the collection for me is collection that makes you smile. I look at this and I'm like, I'm going, it's such a watch that makes me smile. And to think about it, just, you know, we talk about totem poles. This is one of my totem poles. I've known Giles and Nick for maybe 18 years. They started their business at the same time as I started my business. They've been going 20 years and I've been going 20
It's got a real Venom feel.
And that's the kind of thing, and I just love this watch. And I love the S500. And
It's
for
a
me,
monster.
It is a cool watch.
Look at the
and,
thickness of that
They're
bag.
cool guys.
and they're just nice. And then so anyway, that's my
chaps.
and it's independent. So this is the other thing. It's a big independent, but it's independent. So I just thought it was kind of one of those things. I wanted to bring you something that I've done, and they have let me put my vision into their watch. And so that is why I brought these watches. And that's why I said to the Monaco, it should have been the forged carbon Monaco, but I wanted to show something that was my vision, and that was made for the summer.
So what I'm getting from your collecting strategy, George, is that you, what do they say? If it doesn't exist, it's necessary to invent it. You've invented your collecting strategy is to just make watches that you want to see in the
But
world.
it's also to work with
And then have
brands
them.
that I love working with and doing stuff that makes me smile. And for them to say, yes, let's do it.
Yep.
Okay, Andrew.
Who's going to kick off? I'll kick off this round?
Yeah,
okay. I'll be the
you're
opener
going
of
to
this
bring
round.
the ace card now.
Okay, so look, it's
Okay.
One independent to another.
Exactly. Okay, so look, this is probably me at my most Captain Boring, but I am Captain Boring with a mint dial.
Yeah.
My relationship with Rolex is a really funny one. It is like a girlfriend that we've had many metaphors for Rolex over the journey of About Effing Time, but I've tried to have a Rolex-free collection, and it has felt unfinished. It has felt incomplete. Okay. Rolex, this is the most comfortable bracelet watch I've ever had in my life. It is on a par with my GMT Master 2, other Rolexes I've had during the years, but there is just some sort of a skin feel of a Rolex. There's some sort of a reassurance from the perfection of a Rolex that if I don't have one in my collection, there just needs to be one. So this was a very recent pickup. It's from the last few months, but this is me again scratching that Rolex itch, being that ballast in my sort of collection boat. And yes, it is the most basic and boring, a date just smooth bezel oyster. But for me, to use a Georgism, I just feel that a collection without a Rolex is just incomplete. For all the things I say about the brand that are negative or that are controversial or that have irked me, that the bottom line is, it is, yes, I am effing boring, or F off, whatever you're doing. Rolex are the best value for watch money in the world at retail.
Okay.
Yeah, that's often often overlooked.
Okay, I'm going to go, and then it's Adrian after this. I am going to bring something because you guys should know that I love and love and love, and it was just something, it's another watch that makes me smile. It's a Frank Muller Crazy Hours.
Are you seeing a pattern emerging, Adrian?
Snoopy. This is Crazy Hours. This I designed last year with Frank Muller. It has got a Snoop. The biggest problem is these are the worst Curvex case, worst for lighting. But you can see it's Crazy Hours. Snoopy jumps. It just here.
Make his hand go ballistic. Jeez, he must look like he's having a seizure.
So look at that. How cool is that?
Understand.
So you
Okay.
tell the time. That just makes you smile. And then when you're drunk or when you're going out and partying at night, and you
a
normally
good party
have a
trick.
fuck it button where you leave at 2 o'clock that I normally have, I look at the watch and where's 2 o'clock? Okay, it's.
So you have to look at the hour hand. It can't be a glance.
You have to read.
No, George is the guy in the club that's like this, looking at it.
No, so
phone light out.
So honestly, this is one of those watches, and I love this black case, and it is one of those watches that it's going to annoy Marcus on the lighting on this because it's going to show all of his lighting.
It's not
but it doesn't matter. This is one of those watches that each watch I've put here is working with a brand that I really love working with. Frank Muller is a brand that I remember growing up. It was like Hublot and those other big brands. It was one of the brands that, was, if you'd done it, if you'd made it, you'd have a Frank Muller, and they said yes for us to do something, and and Peanuts said yes for us to creating this. This is something. The only thing is, it was only 25 pieces. I wish we'd done more. And the other thing is, it's quite a big case for my wife because she keeps on trying to nick it, and it doesn't happen because it fits on my wrist. I love it.
The Curvex case is unusual because it just looks so bulbous. It looks so huge. It looks like it's going to be a ridiculous wrist proposition, but it is just so
nice.
Curved and comfortable. And because of the burnished curved edge,
And the black on black
the
looks
cuff
good.
just slips over. So it's really an unusual one. If you've never tried on a Curvex case, just go and have a try.
Crazy hours as well.
Yeah, but this style of case, you might immediately write it off when you hear that it's whatever that is, 15, 16 mil thick. You're just going to say, no way, dude. But you look at this ergonomics, and it actually literally fits on almost like a cuff. Adrian, try it on. Have you ever tried one on?
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
You don't like it?
No, I actually really do like Frank Muller. I think their typography is quite
The Alice in Wonderland stuff is cool.
far too big on my wrist.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Adrian.
So I'm going to be showcasing watch brands that I work with as well.
Two can play this game, Mr. Bond. We're not different, you and I.
This watch is the modern version of the first big boy watch that I got, which was an Explorer 2 from the year 2000. I didn't like the previous version of the Explorer 2 because it was too chunky. It felt really chunky. The bracelet was, and I know it's only a millimeter difference, but it just didn't feel right. Whereas this just feels awesome. The movement inside is the updated movement, killer watch, absolutely rock solid, and possibly one of the last proper tool watches that.
And you're wearing it.
Do you remember doing that?
Oh yeah, that was
Was that the Ice Caves?
quite possibly. I've taken it all over the place, but I properly wear my watches. I don't baby them. I mean, even this one has
That's
big
what
old
I
scratch
love
in
about
it.
us is we actually do.
Yeah, they're all fucked up.
We
Yeah,
do wear watches.
None of them are safe queens. But this is one of the. I think there's something special about the way that Rolexes sit on your wrist on a bracelet, and some certainly older Rolexes look fantastic on straps. I much prefer my Explorer on a bracelet, but this lives on a NATO for me. It just, I feel it sits weirdly when it's on the bracelet.
It feels like this one was an ode to Rolex, and now this is an ode to Rolex.
This is an ode from Bamford to himself. This is an ode from Adrian to Omega. I'm sorry, a Rolex. And this is an interesting and well-rounded human being. So I mean, take your choices. Yeah.
I've got other brands. Okay, who went first on the last one?
You're next.
Oh, I'm
You're
next.
back. It's back to you.
Back
Back
to
to
me.
you.
Okay, I'm going to go somewhere a little bit different. Because I've done black, let's do white. I have got
Oh, wow.
L'Oreal.
This is George.
This is called the Ghost.
I am obsessed
White
with this
ceramic on the rubber strap. It came on a ceramic strap, and it also
Last time we saw it on ceramic.
and it also came on a leather strap. So you could get either one. I loved it on the white rubber strap. My wife has it on the ceramic strap, and limited edition 45 pieces. Of course, it was one of those things that I'm sad we should have done more. And a lot of people are asking for it back. But like things like, look at that little.
What is that counterweight?
It's just I love this little bumblebee at the back, and it was just like I love the black and white because I wanted to have this black emulating all the way through. So you go on from the crown all the way through. And I loved this idea of calling it Ghost. So for me, this was something where we were looking at it. And
I'm going to try this on.
and it's a unisex size. And it was just one of those things that, I mean, to work with Girard-Perregaux, it was just, it was one of those things. And I said to them, I said, you know what I want is I want something opposite to what I'm used to. I live in a dark world. I want to have I have something else.
Just mentally.
No, but most of my watches are black. And I said, well, could we do the opposite? Could we do white? And they went, yeah, let's do it. And Andrew's just broken it. No.
I love this. I think it's.
But I love the size of it because it works
that's
on
a cool
multiple
size.
people's wrists. It works on my wife's wrist. It works on my
But
wrist.
because it's so punchy, steel can often kind of just, it doesn't disappear, but it's a lot more
No,
subtle.
but you
whereas
see the
this is-
edges. You
yeah,
can see
yeah,
the.
yeah,
You know, for me, that's one of those.
this is lovely,
Oh, I'm pleased. So you've gone from.
Would you wear that, Adrian?
Oh, I absolutely would. Honestly, this is.
And
on
that's
this
the thing is, it's the summer vibe. It goes back to your Hublot ideas. It goes to that. For me, this is, and you know, this was what, 2 years ago, thereabouts.
It's right on time.
So last
Even
year,
this year.
you know, you kind of go, and that was 2 years ago, and I loved what we did with them. Girard-Perregaux, you know, I could say each of these watches I'm loving because it's a memory. I love being with Patrick, the video that we did together, how we did it, how also Girard-Perregaux just said yes. Let's do that. Let's do that. And you know, we present loads of stuff. Even the music that we chose for this was so cool.
That's
I think
awesome.
we can probably throw to that. That'd be cool.
Cool.
Who's up?
Shall we go?
Sure. Speaking of Hublot,
Oh, a bit of a white theme.
look, I can't tell you how much of a kick I've had out of wearing this watch. And look, it's one of those things that, like, white ceramic watch for summer, it's one of those things that you thought, I commentate on this, I write about it, but I'm never going to have one. And ultimately, two contenders emerged at about the same time, which was, I'm just going to wind that up so we actually get some movement there. Unless, okay, it's just this chronograph hand. It was the Lake Tahoe and this that came out at around about the same time. And I really contrasted them both. But then, you know what it was? It was about effing time. It was that whole thing that happened with Nico. It wasn't
We
just
did a
that.
therapy
but
session, and it was kind
it really made me dig deeper into Hublot as a brand and looking into where is the part of Hublot that I find genuinely, why would I bother to defend this brand? You know, in addition to the fact that, you know, we work with the brand to some extent, why would I go out on a personal limb to defend this brand? And it actually came down to models like this, the Unico models, which
Well,
are
show the
developed,
side, show
developed
the
by the
side.
brand.
That
so
makes it cool.
to me, it ticks all the boxes of actually having legitimacy as a movement and as a product, but then the pure aesthetics of it, combined with that Andrew kind of peaking with this summer of dreams in Europe with a white ceramic watch. I borrowed this for a trip to Ibiza, and then the way this locks on to your wrist, you tried it on in another episode, but that is just a very, very good feeling.
Very cool.
FKM rubber strap, feels really great. Again, at 42, it's a big bang that doesn't monster the wrist. And for all those reasons, that was a bit of a garbled response. It touches on a lot of things, but it's a little bit about us. It's a little bit about ideas you have about one day there'll be this day where I'm wearing a white ceramic watch in this perfect summer in Europe. It all happened. And then when the moment came to give it back, I was like, no, this is actually the moment where I cross over and I purchased this watch. So
The journalist actually becomes so it's the gamekeeper becomes the poacher, or the poacher becomes the gamekeeper.
Well, Marcus talked about, because Watch Delums ask a good question. What's different about being a journalist? The difference is you handle everything. Everything. Like there hasn't been a watch released, a big, even, let's talk about Richard Mille. Their candy collection, that year when
I
they
love
released
that.
all the candy, that was ahead of its time. I handled every single Richard Mille from that collection, obscure stuff, big name stuff, independent stuff. I handle it all. And Marcus, like it's hard to get attached. You don't get attached because it's this. You're just constantly doing this, and things don't stick. But when I wore this one through the summer, because when this was released, it didn't really stick. But then through the last summer,
It grew on you.
it stuck, and all of that other stuff happened. Where I'm like, you know what? I actually believe what I'm saying. I'm throwing down.
Okay, Adrian,
That's a really good segue because my next watch,
Is a Hublot.
you lost it.
I lost it. So just in the same way that really stuck with you, when I
Oh
got
my God, it's on a Rolex.
Wow.
When I got hands-on with an IWC Mark 18, I told IWC that I'm thinking about a Mark 18, but I can't decide between a Mark 18 and a Spitfire. And when they sent one up, it was the first time I truly felt sad about having to send a watch back. Because often you get hands-on with a watch and you think, it's a cool watch, I want to play with it, you get it for a week and then you send it back, like, yeah,
Thank you
that's
very
cool,
much.
Yeah.
done, next one.
Yep.
But this was the one that I thought, I don't want to send it back. And I was umming and ahhing between the Mark 18 and the Spitfire for so long that the Mark 20 came out and I thought, cool, well, that's
Job done.
job done, decision made.
Why? But why?
So this watch, my Explorer, is my favourite watch within my collection. The movement in it, this is an old movement. It's a caliber 3000 movement. It is bad. It doesn't have the Brego overcool hairspring. It has no anti-magnetism to it. It's got a very, very delicate winding system, which often breaks. On a weekly occasion, I will see this ticking backwards, which I don't understand. I asked Roger Smith. He didn't understand.
It's like an antichrist.
So,
It's as if it's a shit movement, which it is. And so I don't like how delicate that watch is, that the watch that I love is. And I'm always trying to find a watch that gives me this feeling, the same feeling as Explorer, that sense of adventure, that sense of built for a purpose, and I got it from this. And I prefer this on a bracelet than a strap, and the complete opposite to this. This is an absolute strap monster. And so this only lives on straps, if we can get it to there it is. So this only lives on my straps. So this is my bracelet version.
Awesome.
This is
And like the Explorer
version.
one, it is also devastatingly boring.
Only
No.
if you don't have the eyes to see the detail of how the tiny triangle is ever so slightly convex. What else? I'll figure something else out. No, honestly, the thing that I like about IWC is it's tiny details. A lot of people say, oh, you can get the same watch from Hamilton, or you can get the same watch from Leica. You can, but it's the tiny details like the finishing of the tiny, high polished chamfered edge.
it's the caring.
More
It's-
sensitive, please. Yes.
Highly polished chamfered edge just around here.
Tiny little ribbon.
It is a tiny ribbon, and it's little details like that which do separate the brands, their attention to detail. So yeah, love that.
Okay, Andrew.
Okay,
you're up
last
for
one.
the last one.
Sure. Well, I'm now going to be George and say that one of the later joys of life as a journalist, quote unquote, is just that we start to get to design watches ourselves and have wacky ideas, and someone will listen to it. Like when you're a watch fan, you think, oh, I could improve that Nevada Grenchen Chronomaster by doing this, or I had this crazy idea that I could modify a watch in some way. Unless you do it yourself, it's not happening. Whereas as a journalist, if you come up with an idea, whether that's a commercial idea or in this case a charitable idea, you then maybe can pull some strings to make your dreams come true. So in this case, it was working with
Thank you.
a modifier, Second, and it was working with the brand, and not only designing a watch together that you give a fuck about, it's also in our case, when we feel strongly about something, we now can use the industry for good as well as evil. And this reflects a lot about me in the sense that I came into this without thinking I could ever really influence much in the industry. It's a huge machine, it's impersonal, I'm an Australian, everyone else is, European. I just felt tiny. And then I think when this watch came together, it really showed me that, if you stick at it and stick through all the hard days of being the little guy, maybe you can make some of these dreams come true, which is just my dream here and my strategy here. The reason this is part of my collection is because it reflects that, you can achieve things that at the start of Time and Tide, if you'd have said one day you will make a watch with a koala on it to raise money for koala populations with this famous modifier and a historical brand, it would have just been laughable to me. So it's part of the collection for that reason, and it's something that, again, never would have thought was possible.
So, Andrew, on that note, What I would say is we're very lucky. We are lucky, and to work with brands. That's one thing I wanted to show on this is to work with brands, do things, do projects. These are pinch moments. These are things where you go, oh my God, someone actually hears what we're saying, and they go, yes, I'd love to do that. So I'm actually bringing one of my most recent big collaborations with a brand. This is the Chopard Desert Racer. This, I went to Mexico to launch. This was meant to be the evil brother or the amazing brother to the Chopard Mille Miglia. This watch also actually went into the desert and raced with me. And I'm going to bring it up to the point so you can see it. I'm just filling it up so you can see that the fuel gauge is moving.
Cool.
So you can see underneath the
One of
hand.
the simple little quirks that until you
smile.
say I'm filling up my watch with petrol, it's like that's rad.
Just clean the dial. It's just got fingerprints on it as well.
So please don't ask me to redo that again.
No, that's fine.
So this is something, this is the prototype, and why I say this is the prototype, you can actually see around the crown the actual sand from the Mexican desert that is stuck all the way down here. My watchmakers want to change it. This was a watch. I saw this watch on Ryan Reynolds, I think it was, wrist, the original of this watch, and it had Mille Miglia on it, and it was black and red. And the reason why it was for a movie called Six Underground, I think it was called, and it was his promotion of the watch, and I went, I freaking love that watch, and we worked with Chopard on the original Mille Miglia chronograph because that was one of my first watches that when I went racing I had a Mille Miglia and I'd done the Mille Miglia, and it was, anyway, you heard that story. We were going to go one way or the other, and I saw Six Underground, and I was like, what the hell is that watch? And they went, oh, it's this. And I was like, we've got to do it. And we've got to do it where it's got that vibe, but it's just me and doing, and I wanted to do flame orange, I wanted to do a tarmac dial, I wanted to do all these things, and this is what I did. And it has survived the desert. My iPhone died, my camera died, everything else died. I almost died, but this watch just did it. And Maya Manx, us, and Chopard, and I'm still grinning. And this is embodiment of that. And working with Chopard, working with KFS, working with the team.
It's a big watch.
I'm lucky to have done this, and I'm I don't know. I love working with brands and them to go, yeah, let's rock it. And so I'm actually
Really cool. Such a sick colourway.
Adrian, do you want to do a collaboration watch?
I've spoken to a few brands, but it's, I don't know. It's
my tarmac dial.
My whole premise is being independent, and it immediately removes that, not the ability to be independent, but the perception of being independent, and that's a big
part of your offer.
Yeah, a big part of my thing.
So,
but is there that same sort of tickle of, like what I was just saying about this one and what George is saying now is we're lucky, it's pinch yourself moments. Is there a sense of, oh, I just would love to change a watch in some way, do a version that doesn't exist?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you have ideas?
I've got it. I've got I've got the mock-ups.
Really?
Yeah. And I really like
that. Would be good to see.
I really like the idea of doing it the old Bamford way of going rogue and not getting the permission from the brands.
Yeah.
And just buying
He's starting to sweat.
And buying a whole load of watches and getting them customized and selling them.
Yeah.
Do you know that's a pain in the ass?
Until he nearly gets sued.
But it's a fun project.
It's a pain in the ass way of doing it. This is such. You just go, oh, and you feel like you're like this community, like us. you feel like you're part of something with other people. You're doing it together. And that is the most amazing thing. You think about you as a follower of this, the subscribers, the likers, the people that watch our YouTube channel, the people that are paying subscription to our podcast. You are part of our community. We feel hands on our backs and we put hands on your backs. That's what this is about. And this is why I'm saying thank you. This is why I think you say thank you, is being a part of something that you are not in the shade, you're in the light. And that's
This is what you talked about when you went to Biver, when
Yeah,
Biver came
and
to you and
that-
took you. Adrian wants to go into the shadows.
He wants to go into the dark.
I see some darkness.
Okay,
Set-
so
There's so
Adrian,
much bullshit out there. That's the problem.
Adrian,
true.
you're gonna drop
it's true.
So,
drop your final,
talking about
Explorer 1?
influencing,
Oh, no, it's out.
influencing what brands do and getting them to be a bit more colourful and working with brands to kind of create something together. There's a little brand that I work with to add a bit more colour to one of their watches, and it's I didn't do that with.
Just a little brand I worked with. I suggested a root beer.
So I bought this. I feel like this is a bit of a black sheep within my collection because I bought this as a bit of fun. I bought this
Because you could.
because I could, and there was no horological significance. There was nothing. It's a little bit adventurous, but it's like having a 4x4 with 22-inch wheels and about 2 millimeters of tread on them. You can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
But it's just a sexy watch. It makes me smile. I don't know how long it's going to be in my collection. I don't wear it that often because I like to wear watches that I feel a connection with. And honestly, the only watches in my collection that I wear are these three.
So
And that is it.
Can I reflect back on something you said? That if I could pull out a moment from the last 6 months where I've felt harpooned by a comment relating to watches, it was yours. I had to give you the win on that, but it was the comment about that needing to go up, and how this is perhaps the biggest mistake, is to feel that watch collecting is a journey of upward mobility. It does not have to be. Is this you potentially falling foul of that a little bit?
No, this is me dipping my toe in the water to see if the water is something I want to get in with.
So you are testing
I don't.
upward mobility.
I have no desire to spend 12 grand on a watch again.
Yes.
It does
so
nothing for
you
me.
experimented and it
I
didn't.
experimented. It's
And
it's
you
not
still
going to
run this little bad girl.
Yeah. So when people say about going up in the watch world, this is my cheapest watch. £3,000 I paid for this, and it's the one I wear every single day. And so there's no desire to get something. I would love a Vacheron 1921. I'd love an overseas. I don't need it.
How often did you think you would wear this?
I wanted that to be to my daily. I wanted to daily it.
I would have.
And
loved
for about 2 or 3 months, I probably did daily it. I put it on a NATO. I got it on brown, grey NATOs.
and it just didn't work.
And oh no, I loved it. But the honeymoon period's gone, and it's like, all right, it's just a flashy Rolex.
Wow, it's a fling.
Yeah, a fling.
Yeah.
I still like it, but
you've already set a ceiling for yourself.
I have.
No, when I talk about price
Yeah,
ceilings, you've set a ceiling, and that's the ceiling, and you've kind of gone that.
Hang on, Adrian, I'm just getting a call. Sorry. Yeah, hello. How much for Bark and Jack? Really? 2.5 mil. Okay. I'll talk to my client and get back to you. Thanks. 2.5 mil for the business.
Okay.
You taking it?
Well, that's your first. You don't take the first off.
Oh, fuck off. Are you taking the deal?
I'll take 2.5 mil. Yeah.
Okay, great. Where's your ceiling now?
See, if that were to happen, I would 100% go buy myself a 1921. And just do it.
Interesting ceiling. It's an interesting ceiling. It's like it's made of rubber. It's like an elastic.
But that's
I
because.
wouldn't call that a ceiling. It's more of a tent.
But that's because in that instance, I would want to buy something to celebrate a successful moment of selling a business.
But then suddenly, like acting your wage opens. There's a lot of other things you could buy.
I don't
that
have
are still
2.5
acting
mil
your
in my
wage.
bank account
No,
right
you do.
now.
You do.
No, now I do.
It's just wide.
But me right now, I don't.
Sorry, transaction completed. Check your phone.
But I don't have 2.5 mil in real life as me. Hence
No,
why.
this is a game, Adrian.
Okay.
Oh my God,
but-
Captain Boring, play with me.
Adrian, you're saying I have a
me.
ceiling, but you're changing the context of my life.
I know that's the whole point. It's called a game.
Exactly. And I've just.
It's a simulation.
But you're questioning my ceiling.
I know, in the game. Anyway,
That doesn't make
Okay,
sense.
I've made my point.
okay, guys.
Your ceiling is not very permanent.
What I'm going to do is put it back to you. It's rate our collection. Please be nice.
said yes.
Don't listen to Andrew. Please be nice. Say yes that you think I won this. But rate our collection like we have rated your collection.
We've got bad news for Adrian. The buyers just changed it to porkandbeans.com from Buck and Jack. It's now a second-hand platform.
So, rate our collection. Thank you so much to Adrian and Andrew to bringing what they have brought as some watches that haven't won this. Because as you know, I have won this. Please do rate our collection. Be nice to us, as I think we have been nice to you to
How
a
can they
degree.
vote?
Adrian
How are
and
they
Andrew.
going to vote?
In the
Let's be honest,
comments,
there's only one
do put-
collection from a watch enthusiast here. There's
Exactly. Yeah. And then there's a Rolex fanboy in the
And
middle.
then there's a commercial offering and a commercial offering.
Give us a rating out of 10. Please be nice. I know I'm 10 out of 10, but please rate us out of 10 in the comments below, and we cannot wait to hear what you think of our collection.
Cool.
Thank you so much to everyone that has been a part of this. Adrian, Andrew, this has been
guys.
a wonderful roller coaster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really, and I kind of love being between these two power couple.
Well, Adrian's a rich man, so I'm interested. I'll take it.
Oh my God, he's keeping going with that joke. It's amazing.
Pork and beans forever. Pork and beans.
Thank you so much. You rock. Bye.